This presentation is on Chapter 5, Financial Aid. Many of you will have already experienced some of the parts of financial aid, so there will be a few new things that you may not have experienced yet. In this chapter, we'll define financial aid, we'll look at the options for financial aid, we'll talk about the financial aid office, how to apply for financial aid, and how to manage your student loans. It is a process to apply and understand financial aid. If you're going to get involved with financial aid to continue your college, you should definitely be sure that you understand this process. Financial aid is any form of financial assistance from any number of sources. Most of the time we think of it as grants and student loans, but financial aid may come from family members giving you money to go to college, different types of saving plans that your parents may have done preparing you, work-study programs where you actually work on campus and get paid for working as a part of your financial aid, scholarships, numerous scholarships available out there, and then of course student loans. So it's not just student loans and grants. The options for financial aid that we just discussed are more clearly: loans are funds that are borrowed and must be repaid with interest. Grants are a gift aid that does not have to be repaid. Work study is a federally funded program in which the money does not have to be repaid, and usually you work 30 hours a week and get paid for those 30 hours a week that you're working, and that usually is also on campus. And then scholarships that do not have to be repaid and are usually awarded on a specific criteria. There are a number of federal student loans, but the one that we hear about the most are the Federal Perkins loan and the Direct Stafford loan. Be sure in this chapter that you understand the difference between a subsidized and an unsubsidized loan. But then there are also other loans that you don't hear of as often, like loans for parents, loans for graduate and professional degree students, and the direct consolidation loans. Grants are those, remember, that you do not have to pay back. The one we hear of the most is the federal Pell Grant. But there's also the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, the Iraq and Afghanistan Service Grant, and a Teacher Education Assistance for College and Higher Education, or the TEACH grant program. Again, the one that you're going to hear about the most often is going to be the federal Pell Grant, that first one. The work-study program that I discussed provides part-time jobs for students with financial need. In fact, sometimes this part-time job is in your field. These money should go to pay for your education expenses, which may include your living expenses, and you can find more information at that website. Scholarships can come from many sources. They may be from the school that you plan to attend, from the college itself. They could be from your church, your employer, your parents' employers, or local civic organizations, or even local businesses also give many scholarships. Private loans are offered by private lenders and do not include the benefits and protection available with federal student loans. They tend to have higher fees and interest rates, and you do not have the opportunities for cancellation or loan forgiveness. In some cases, for instance, for mine, when I first started teaching, I taught overseas, and I was given a loan forgiveness because of where I was teaching. The financial aid office is a good resource. You should build a relationship with them if you're going to use financial aid. You should keep in contact with them constantly to be sure that you've met deadlines, etc. You don't want to wait until a week before school to find that your financial aid was never granted because you didn't sign something, which is a common occurrence. You can apply for financial aid through the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You will need quite a bit of supporting documentation, such as tax records for the current year. This year they have changed it so that you can also use last year's tax records so that you can apply in a more timely manner. So you do want to be mindful of the dates that are associated. It can be filled out electronically and probably should be. And there are several federal government websites that can support the process of getting this done. Again, though, follow-up is crucial to make sure that your financial aid application has been accepted and is being followed through. Managing your student loans while you're in school, be aware of the following: how the loans are dispersed, in other words, when and where you're going to get your money. Using the loan for education expenses. Enrollment status, be sure that you know how many hours you have to be enrolled for in order to qualify for that financial aid, and that you may not get as much financial aid for 9 hours as you would for 12 hours. And paying interest while in school, which we discussed in an earlier chapter. Otherwise, you're paying interest on interest. So if you possibly can, it's a good idea, even though you're not paying your loan back, to pay the interest off of it while you're in school. Be sure that when you've left the school that you understand the rules surrounding graduating, withdrawing, or dropping below half time, that you choose a repayment plan, or that you consider loan consolidation if you have more than one. If you have trouble making payments, don't just skip them and ignore it. You may have some options of changing your repayment plans, a deferment, or a forbearance. So really consider discussing and communicating with them rather than just ignoring it and not making the payments. Consequences of defaulting on your loan after payment is 270 days past due. It's considered delinquent. Penalties are very severe and can jeopardize your financial well-being for years to come. In other words, your credit rating. So it's a good idea to contact them, as we said on the previous slide, to find a good time to make the repayment or to get it deferred if you have to and can qualify. End of this video.